This conversation is about husbands and wives working together. I've read about it. I've heard about, couples living together and now working together and kind of dealing with each other that way, and it ain't going so well. And it's not funny to hear that it's not going so well. It's funny for us because we're like, well, we've been doing this for well over a decade. We're very used to it. And I think that we know when to walk away from situations. So like there are definitely times when you and I are working together on a design project and I get as much input as I want from you and then I'm done. I don't know how else to say that.
Get out of here. Right.
I don't know how else to say that nicely. I'm only going to take so much. And there are definitely times when you'll come back a couple times.
Yeah, because you can be a soul crusher sometimes. In areas of art. See, it's funny that you even talk about design when you bring up design of a thing. Because design is art and function, right? But there's an art component, which is all emotion, quite honestly.
Okay.
Nobody sees somebody else's art and is like, yeah, that sucks, and that feels good to a person. It hurts. So when you're talking design, it can be soul crushing if you especially have a negative opinion on something that I'm like artistically feeling out. It's a death blow.
I don't feel as though I don't deal soul crushing opinions.
No, yes, you do. You have.
How?
There's obviously a huge analytical part to my brain, and I can function analytically.
Yeah.
And that's just a matter of like building processes. This domino knocks down that domino, which falls onto the mousetrap, which makes the marble fly across the room. There are multiple solutions to any problem.
Yeah.
And to me, there's some art to it, but mostly that's science and predictive behaviors and things. So there's no vulnerability to it. But you brought up design, and we talk about design. To me, that's all vulnerability. That's basically the embodiment of a 5-year-old version of me with a crayon in his hand in the corner drawing. And so, if you say something critical, it's gonna destroy him. He's gonna pick it up, bundle it up, and throw it in the trash.
No, that's how I'm going to see whenever you're designing something, or I see Photoshop open and you're designing something, I'm going to picture this little kid.
That's exactly what you should have been picturing that the whole time. That's exactly right.
Yeah, no, I'd never pictured that before. I would literally just come up and be like, is that the font you're going to use, really?
Exactly. Yeah, it was never Comic Sans just to put that out there. It was always made sense, but sometimes you just got to throw layers on the board and start messing with it.
So now I think that you do a very good job at approaching me a different way. So like you'll design something and you'll come to me and you'll say, I want you to throw your last 5% on this.
5% is the rule. The 5% piece is everything.
But we've honed that over the years.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how many years it has taken us to get to the point where you're like, okay, I've done everything that I want here. I just need that last 5%.
Correct. And that's good. And that works perfectly.
It absolutely does.
And it works perfectly in reciprocation as well, because sometimes you'll come to me for 5%. So 5% is like a known commodity around here.
Yeah, it is.
I'm almost where I want to be, so don't come through deleting layers or don't eraser. But
don't change the image.
Yeah, but give me a couple little pieces what do you see? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And as a key, I think, to the greater conversation of working together, one of the big deals for us, in my understanding, has been having multiple workstations.
Yeah.
So like when my brother comes over, he can grab a spot anywhere in the house. There's multiple areas for you to sit down. So really there are like 2 work-at-home people who are here full-time, but there's probably 5 workstations.
Yeah. Demi has come and been here for a month and been able to work, whether it was in the guest room or at the kitchen table or at my desk at times. Like because there's so many different workstations in the house.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to work in the same place every single day. It just makes it easier for somebody to pull up and immediately start a Zoom call or, have a conference call. I got to get on a conference call.
Yeah, it has been compressed a bit during COVID because of sound barriers. It's another thing you got to think about is if there's a conference call that has to happen or if there's a certain show on television that somebody wants to watch, you have to think beyond what you can see. You got to think about what you can hear. So
Right.
sound barriers is important when
Yeah.
setting up workstations, and having multiple workstations is important.
I totally agree with that.
One of the things that it allows us to do is decide how close or how far it is we want to work from one another in any given day. If I want to be within earshot of what you're watching on TV, because I don't want to watch TV, but I want to hear something, I can work in a closer workstation to you. Or if I want the opposite, then I can be elsewhere.
Yeah. You know, I think another thing that we're really good at is we both enjoy working. So it could be 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and we're both sitting on the sofa, and the television is on, but we both have our laptops on our laps, and we're both working, but watching a movie at the same time. In a relationship where some people might feel like, you know, he's working too much or she's working too much, for you and I, we both enjoy what we do, and we enjoy being around one another. So we're able to balance that very well, I think. I don't think that there has ever been a time where I was like, you're working too much, I'm not getting enough attention. And I would think that you felt the same way, because if you didn't, you would tell me.
Well, there has been a time I can think of immediately, and that's Thanksgiving
In
at your parents'
California.
house.
Yeah, that was really bad. That was bad.
Don't fly me across the country.
That was really bad.
Make me pass up on lunch with my cousin to drive past where he is to go all the way out to your parents' house,
Yeah.
and then you sit at the table and
I worked
work
the
whole
entire time.
That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, see, that was really bad. I had committed myself to a project and I had to see it through. So I ended up working way more than I thought I would. And while I was sitting in the room and things were happening around me, they were really happening around me and I wasn't really involved. And I even think you guys went someplace several times, actually, that I didn't go because I was working. Yeah, that was a total failure on my part.
This is a segue into a whole different conversation we need to have about hiring help.
Yeah.
Especially surge help for seasonal stuff when you need your business needs to expand, but not permanently. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say about working at home, which you guys have already figured out, is you need excellent Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So don't play around. Go ahead and get the fiber. Either whoever has it in your area.
The best of everything.
Get the nodes so that you can have equal internet all around the house. And really, as an aside, one of my favorite things is the Sonos speaker set, which allows you to control the music in any room you go into. And I think that's another thing that's helpful, just to kind of control the sounds in your office.
I think one thing that we could use to enhance this particular set is a background. And I don't know if it's like, you know, like the photo booth, because they make like the curved background that's huge. It could almost make this like part a room, or, you know, just a smaller part. Then you have the flat ones. I kind of like the curved ones
That's what
better.
walls are for. Look at that. Look at all that stuff. That's cool. That's my background. My background singing for the cross.